So as stated previously, this is the 31st Annual Sports Hall of Fame banquet, and there have been a number of outstanding board members and community members in the past, and we are so grateful for their service. However, after 30 years of leading this great group, Tom Hartman did step down from the committee this year, and his service needs to be recognized. Tom has been an outstanding leader, and all 30 of his other banquets have gone without a flaw. We're just hoping we can keep that going here on the 31st. So if Tom's here, can you please rise? I know he was here. I saw him walk in. I'd also like to recognize our current committee members for all of their hard work in planning and putting the celebration together. They're all listed in your program, but I'd still like them to stand, and people help with bios, sending out invitations, putting the banquet here together. So Franz Bolter, Ken Hubert, Ruth Olson, Charlie Madsen, Rhonda Nowaczewski, Mike Perutka, and Tim Tuznow. Would you guys all please stand? If there's any complaints, you can give them to all those guys. No. We also want to recognize all of the Faribault Sports Hall of Fame members that are in attendance this evening, something we do annually. So to make sure nobody's missed, or if someone walked in late, we are going to have all of the current members stand and be recognized at once. The impact these members have had, not only on the Faribault community, is noteworthy, but I know each and every one of you have gone on and done great things in your professions and in your communities you live now. So with all of the current Faribault Sports Hall of Fame members in attendance tonight, please rise so you can be recognized. Thank all of you and congratulations. Unfortunately, a few of our Hall of Fame members have passed away since we've held this banquet 2 years ago. Our thoughts and prayers are with them and their families. As I know they have fond memories of their lost one, and their legacies will continue for generations to come. If we could host a brief moment of silence to honor these individuals, it would be great. Again, all these people that have passed away have left lasting legacies on us. Well, that's enough of me talking, and we're excited to hear about the class of 2022. Chris Reavers will be introducing our members, and we are so thankful he was able to join us this evening. He was hanging out at the Legion for a little bit, but we're glad he found us up here. Chris is a graduate of Faribault High School and an outstanding ambassador for the community of Faribault. After graduating from MSU Mankato, Chris realized he loved to talk and had a face for radio, so he went into the broadcasting industry. You can hear him daily with his coworkers on the Garage Logic podcast. Even though Chris and his family live in the metro area, how long have you played town ball for the Lakers?
God, Jack? 96.
Since 96, he still plays. Chris was also instrumental in getting the Lakers to participate in the Town Ball Classic at Target Field a few years ago. And I think he spent the last 2 years of his life preparing for the state amateur baseball tournament. Faribault held the 99th Annual State Amateur Baseball Tournament this fall. This was an outstanding community event that brought thousands of visitors to town, raised funds for our local community, and allowed some outstanding improvements to be made for Belfield. I think he lived at the ball field for 3 weekends this past August. Chris will read the bios for each inductee. There are some copies on your tables. We didn't print one off for everyone, but on the head tables there are. And then the inductees will have a few minutes to share their induction speech with all of you, which is why you're here. I know each and every one of you have set numerous records, milestones in your lifetime. I can promise you, you do not want to have the record for the longest Sports Hall of Fame speech. I don't know who has it. I've heard some stories, but that's not one you want on your record book. So with that, I'll bring up Chris Reavers, and we'll start our inductions.
Thank you, Brent. And also thank you again for having me. It's a privilege to be here this evening, so thank you very much for having me be a part of this. First off is Randy Brecky, a 1967 graduate of Faribault High School. Randy starred in both football and wrestling, lettering and excelling in each for 4 years. Upon graduation, He moved on to Luther College, where he played 1 year of football and wrestled for 4 years. He graduated with a degree in education, specializing in K through 12. In his years at FHS, he established himself as a fearless and tough competitor in both sports, and his teammates recognizing his ability to lead. Elected him as a captain for their senior season in both football and wrestling. He is quick to credit his many great teammates in both sports as well as his coaches, all the way down to the 5th and 6th grade levels. Some individual recognitions and awards in football at FHS include All Big Nine, All State, and Most Valuable Player. Individual recognitions and awards in wrestling at FHS: All Big Nine, All State, Team MVP, first at Hutchinson Invitational and voted MVP, first at Robbinsdale Invitational and voted MVP. He finished first in the district tournament. He, Bill Simpson, and Wally Perrin were the only FHS wrestlers to make it to state, but they finished third in the team standings. Some individual recognition and awards in wrestling at Luther College. Lettered 4 years. Voted team MVP his junior and senior years. A 2-time All-Luther champion. A 2-time Iowa Conference champion. A finished career with a record of 91-12, wrestling at 152 as a freshman, 165 as a sophomore, and 175 heavyweight as a junior and senior. As with his high school years, Randy would like to recognize his coaches at Luther, Paul Solberg and Bob Nasland, and all of his wrestling teammates over those 4 years, saying that there were just too many to mention. He felt that he not only learned how to wrestle during those 4 years, but he also to grow as an individual. Quote, "I was taught to learn through all of our experiences, whether we won or lost. I believe in the philosophy of always having a positive mental attitude. You take the positive out of every experience and use it for the rest of your life. Hard work and great coaches, excuse me, and team members are the keys to all the success we have in life. In addition, you have to believe in yourself and enjoy what you're doing. I thank everyone in my life that led me down the road of football and wrestling." Randy is the son of Milton and Florence Brecky and brother to Dean Brecky. He and his wife Lisa have 3 children, Kim Zerke, Shane Brecky, and Bryce Brecky. And I was informed you all now live next door to each other. Congratulations. Congratulations, Randy, and welcome into the Faribault Sports Hall of Fame.
Well, I'm not the greatest speaker in the world, but I'll wing it. Because everybody asks, do you have your speech made? And I say, yeah, I got it right here. So if I get long-winded, somebody throw an ice cube at me and tell me to shut up. But I have to thank all the committee guys and everybody that nominated me for this award. I totally appreciate it. 55 years and about 60 pounds. It's been fun. Faribault was a great, great city to grow up in as a kid. And back in the 60s, and a lot of you know when the 60s was, and some of you don't, it was Vietnam, it was drugs, it was hippies, it was sometimes tough. But with the coaches we had, I couldn't have done it without them. And I do appreciate it. I thank you for everybody that supported me. And I have 3 short stories. And I want to tell, when I was in 5th and 6th grade, I went to Washington High School. And we had flag football. And Mr. Robert Anhorn was our coach. He looked at me and he says, "Brecky, I want you to carry the ball." I said, "Okay." So they passed me the ball. I go around the end. I'm traveling as fast as these fat little legs will carry me, going down for a touchdown. I look and I'm seeing touchdown. All of a sudden I look back and Mr. Gary Kramer was right behind me, pulled my flag, never gave me the touchdown. So then I went back to the huddle and the coach says, "Brecky, you're on the line." So that's where I stayed for all my high school career. And the other one, a great football coach, Harvey Schultz, the man among men when we were kids. He was as as tough as he is right now. But I remember he was my math teacher in 10th grade. And of course, with Brecky, you sit in the front row. So I did my best, and you get your report card, those little brown cards that give you A, B, C, and D. And on the back of mine, there's a big D plus for Mr. Schultz. And it said, you better get your act together. So I did. That inspired me a lot. And the third person I have to thank is Jerry Schrader. He was my coach 2 years. Taught me the switch, which is my go-to move. And I do thank you, Jerry. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate it.
Anthony Gustafson graduated from Faribault High School in 2011 as a very celebrated three-sport athlete. His toughness, athleticism, intelligence, work ethic, and positive attitude overcame his modest size, allowing him to lead his teams by example, as well as performance and his effective leadership. Those traits also allowed him to have an exceptional track career at Minnesota State University Mankato. Go Mavs, by the way. His high school years produced remarkable results in his three sports of football, basketball, and track, and he was a team leader in all three. He is also quick to credit his coaches, parents, and teammates for his own successes, of which there were many, and his quickness is an obvious asset as you examine his individual accomplishments. His high school accomplishments and recognition include 3-year letter winner in football. He led the Big Nine in rushing yards, yards per carry, and touchdowns in 2010. He broke the FHS school record for rushing yards in a single game with 298 yards and 18 carries versus Owatonna. I bet Gundy was happy about that, wasn't he? He was a 2010 team captain, a 2-time all-conference member, a 3-year letter winner in basketball, was twice all-conference honorable mention, was FHS leader in assists and steals in both 2010 and 2011. He was a 2011 team captain, a 5-year letter winner in track and field, a team captain in 2009, 2010, and 2011, a 13-time all-conference selection, a 6-time section champion, an 8-time state participant, and 7 times he was all-state. A 2011 state champion in the 200-meter dash, a 2011 state runner-up in the 100-meter dash. He set the school record in the long jump at 23 feet 3 inches. He helped set the school record in the 4x100 relay, and he helped set the Big Nine record in the 4x100 relay. He's a member of the Big Nine 2008 Conference Championship team and a member of the 2008 True Team State qualifying team. His track accomplishments and recognition at Minnesota State Mankato include Team Indoor and Outdoor Northern Sun Intercollegiate Conference Champions in 2012 through 2016. Ranked number 1 in Division II track team in the nation in 2016. Anthony was a 2-time All-American. A 2014 Indoor Conference champion in the 200-meter. He helped set the school record in both the 4x100 and 4x200 meter relays. He helped win the NSIC Conference Championship in the 4x100 in 2013, 2014, and 2015. And the 2013 Drake Relay Champions in 4x100 and 4x200, and the 2015 Drake Relay Champions in the 4x100. He was a teammate to Emmanuel Mahdi, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, a 2-time national champion and Olympic athlete for Liberia, as well as Chris Reed, who ended up playing for the Minnesota Vikings. Anthony has also coached high school football, high school basketball, and high school track and field, as well as being a summer speed and strength coordinator. His parents are Jay and Amy Gustafson. His siblings are Matthew and Kayla Gustafson, and he's married to Kelsey Gustafson. Congratulations, Anthony, and welcome to the Faribault Sports Hall of Fame.
I'd like to start off by thanking the selection committee for this honor. I am humbled to be standing up here with tonight's inductees and joining those before us. I would also like to thank everyone involved in making this banquet happen, so we could each use this platform to thank those involved in our journeys. And with every journey, there must be a beginning. And for me, I have an aha moment where my sports career kind of took a turn and I was set on a path. And it was when I was younger. My dad brought me to a skills and drills soccer competition thing at Shattuck. Went there, I did my best. I tried, I thought I did really well. Fortunately, they did not hand out awards to everyone, and I was not one of them. I cried, I was in the car, I was upset, thought it was unfair. Essentially along the lines of the discussion was, well, did you do your best? Yes, I did. Okay, that's all that matters. Now, what are you gonna do to get better at this so you don't feel this way anymore? And that's when something clicked. It was, I had zero desire to play soccer. And that what I wanted to achieve isn't gonna be handed to me. I must work hard towards it. That my self-worth isn't based on an award. It's what you do to get there is what matters. So now fast forward to my 8th grade year, it's 2007. I was approached by Coach Dave Weber back there, and he asked me to move up to the high school team. I was extremely nervous, but yet I was excited because my brother at the time was a senior, and I finally got to be on the same team as him. So during that time, Coach Weber and I developed a strong bond. So Coach, I'm extremely thankful for everything you have done. You have humbled, pushed, cared, supported, and always trusted in me. You taught me the importance. Was it?
You're good.
Oh. You taught me the importance of attention to detail. And if I could perfect the little things,
Keep going.
it could take me a long way. And a long way it did. There's 2 gifts that you had given me that are very important. If you've blessed me with allowing me to come back and coach here in Faribault as a sprints and relays coach the last couple of years. Last season was extremely historic. And for that, I want everyone to take a quick second to recognize Coach Weber. He was just named Coach of the Year in the state of Minnesota for Class AA. Coaching with you has brought full circle, and it's brought some of the best memories of my life. The other gift you gave me is you were relentless on pushing to get Kelsey Wested to be the track manager in my senior year. If a job needed to get done, you ask her, she'll get it done. She was the best. And for those who don't know, Kelsey Wested is now Kelsey Gustafson. She's my wife. So thank you for that. To my grandparents, Bob and Marlene. On the weekends, if my parents were gone and I really wanted to go to the community center to play basketball, which if I didn't go was like life or death, you never hesitated once to get into the car to come pick me up. And when the seasons would change over, I would come over, Grandpa would slap the East Bay magazine down on the table, and he'd tell me to pick out a pair of shoes for the season coming up. That was always so much fun to me. So thank you for all your support. You saved all the newspaper articles, you listened to every single radio interview, and made every effort possible to come watch me compete. That has meant the world to me. This one's gonna be tough. Okay. So, to my older brother, Matthew, you never let me win growing up. I can't thank you enough for that. No matter how hard I tried, you always found a way to beat me. I've never beaten him in a race. So he has that over me for the rest of our lives. The biggest moment I thought I had you was my 8th grade year at the Big 9 conference meet. I was leading the long jump in finals, in first place. I made it all the way through until your very last jump. And of course, you found a way to beat me. But I was glad it was you. Because with that, we both were all conference and we both got to go down the Parade of Champions together. And for the first time in my life, I felt like I was in the same league as you. You currently hold the state record for the longest kick return touchdown in Minnesota. You were all conference in multiple times in football and track. You were a part of 2 school records in track and all state multiple times. You had a successful career at Wartburg on top of all your high school accomplishments, which the list is like this long. So you all can see why I worship the ground you walk on. Thank you for being my hero. I just hope that I can sit in your chair and you'll be up here and I get to support you in this, which should be soon, hopefully. Dad, you worked long hours for 20 years, yet you still found a way to be present. From playing catch with us in the backyard, opening up the deaf school gym to shoot, to, I don't know how you did this, to loading up the kids from the deaf school into a van and bringing them to our sports so you had an excuse to come watch us. Mom, while Dad was at work, you made sure we had rides to all of our practices. You made sure we had fresh meals to eat, and you were the ear for when I was stressed. You two are my rock. I've been a part of some phenomenal teams, but no team better than those two. You traveled to all my meets in college just to watch me run for 10 to 21 seconds. Even if the meet was in Colorado or Michigan, you'd load up Riley and he'd come and watch as well. Your love and support means everything to me, and I'm forever grateful for how you raise us kids. From my perspective, tonight isn't just an award banquet for us up here. Tonight is a celebration of all the people in this community that have created opportunity for us all to do what we loved, and that was to compete in sports. It takes a village of community members who show commitment, passion, support, selflessness, and love to get us all here. We're forever in your debt. Thank you again, and let's continue our celebration. Congrats to the 2022 Hall of Fame inductees. Thank you very much.
Holly Halfmeyer Heemstra is a 2010 graduate of Bethlehem Academy. Holly participated in volleyball, baseball, and track, but she excelled in volleyball, both as a 4-year starter at BA and as a 4-year starter at Augustana University, where she received her degree in athletic training. Her career started at a high level and continued to progress every year throughout her high school and college career. Teaming with fellow inductees Carrie Ann Nass Wayland, they experienced an incredible 4-year run of state championship appearances, garnering 2 state titles and 2 runner-up finishes. During that 4-year stretch, Holly was the dominant player in both the Section 1 tournament and the Class A state tournament every single season. Every year she became stronger and better, moving from a very tall but gangly freshman, that's Coach Belter's words, not mine, to an even more powerful player each season. Her blocking was an intimidating skill from the beginning, and her force and versatility as an attacker just kept growing, as did her effectiveness as a hitter. After she had put her stamp on Section 1 tournament for a few years, the Rochester Post-Bulletin referred to as the Holly Wall, after her blocking completely stymied the opponent attacks during those 4 seasons. After her high school career was over, she held the state record for total career blocks with 845. The next closest player had 656. Her blocking and fearsome attack occasionally brought opposing players to tears, in many cases because she hit them with a powerful attack. When she was young and just establishing herself as a varsity player, her older teammates were constantly encouraging her to become more ferocious, and she did just that as time went on. Although her general nature off the court was as gentle and as sweet as you can imagine, In addition, Coach Bolter said many times, "I'm sure glad Holly's on our team. I'd hate to have to prepare for her as an opponent." Her high school individual achievements include 1,391 kills, that's second all-time at BA. 845 total blocks, first all-time. 357 ace blocks, also first all-time. 476 kills in a season, first all-time, and she is also number 2 at 445. 109 ace blocks in a season, first all-time, and she is also number 4 all-time and number 5 all-time. Team co-MVP with Carrie Ann, 4-year all-conference, all-state 2 years, and all-state honorable mention 2 years. All-state honorable 2 years. All-state tournament team 4 years. All-state academic 4 years. A National Junior Olympic All-American. A 2009 Class A State Player of the Year. The Augustana University individual achievements in NCAA Division II include 3-time North Central Intercollegiate Conference All-Conference, being first team in 2012 and 2013. NSIC All-Academic Team 3 times. All-Central Region first team twice. A 2013 first team AVCA All-American, second team Daktronics All-American, AVCA National Player of the Week, NSIC Defensive Player of the Week, NSIC Offensive Player of the Week. In every one of Holly's 4 years at Augustana, her team improved on its record from the previous season. Her coaching experience. In 2014 and 2015, a graduate assistant at South Dakota State University. 2018 to present, the Brookings South Dakota Youth Volleyball. And in 2012, Brookings Junior Olympic Volleyball. Everywhere that she has played, Holly has been recognized as a great and humble teammate, a hard worker, and someone who respects her opponents and the game of volleyball. Holly is married to Marcus Heemstra. Her parents are Terry and Carol Halfmeyer, and her siblings are Carissa Halfmeyer, Mullenbein, and Tim Halfmeyer. Congratulations, Holly, and welcome to the Faribault Sports Hall of Fame.
Thank you, and congratulations to all the other inductees. I am honored to be induced into the Faribault Sports Hall of Fame, joining so many others that have contributed so much to Faribault athletics. I have been blessed with so many great opportunities, and that is thanks to wonderful people that have guided me along the way. First, I would like to thank my parents. I can't even count the hours that we spent practicing in the driveway or driving to games or in the gym. They were always there to support and love me. You two are truly my #1 fans. I'd like to thank my siblings for always being there as great role models and to encourage me. Between grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, I was always so fortunate to have such a large and dedicated fan base. Thanks to all of you guys. I have a very special memory of my grandparents coming to the Excel Energy Center for state, and my grandpa was in a back brace. He had just had back surgery, and he was pushing my grandma, who was in a wheelchair, because she had just had knee surgery. And so there's some really awesome photos of them, and they just refused to miss any game. I would like to thank my husband. Even though we didn't meet until college, he was a huge support throughout my college career, and I'd just like to thank him for cheering me on in between his own practices and games. I was also so fortunate to have the support and guidance of so many awesome coaches throughout my career that taught me so many life lessons and pushed me to be better. I'd specifically like to thank the coaches that I had at Bethlehem Academy, so Coach Bolter, Coach Trinka, and Coach Jandro. You guys have influenced my lives tremendously. I have been blessed with so many talented, committed, hardworking, and fun teammates like Carrie Ann, one of my fellow inductees. We all know that there were so many laughs, but also hard work, sweat, and yes, tears that were devoted to our sport, but also to our friendships. I'd also like to thank the Bethlehem Academy fans and all of the Faribault fans. We always had the best fans, and we were so blessed to have you guys all rooting for us. As I have had the opportunity to share my high school sports opportunities and experiences with others and hear others' stories. I have realized that I naively thought that everyone had such a great experience like I did. From pasta nights and choreographed singing and dancing before games and team bonding to genuine support from the whole community, I now realize that I was so blessed to be a part of a community and a sports program that was so unique and special. Thank you so much.
Jenna Halverson Fuchs is a 2010 graduate of Faribault Senior High School. Jenna has an athletic achievement record that is both phenomenal and unique. And that became even more impressive during her college career at the University of Wisconsin-La Crosse. We'd be hard-pressed to find other high school or collegiate athletes who excelled in both track and field and dance line, but she did it in both high school and in college. In addition, she was a 5-year letter winner in soccer for the Falcons, as well as her team's MVP. Jenna's parents, Scott Halverson and Teresa Thompson, were both sprinters for FHS. And they clearly passed down the ability for Jenna to sprint in her own activities, as well as sprinting from one sport to the other, as she did in the fall in high school for soccer and dance practices. Here's a list of her impressive and diverse accomplishments. In high school, the aforementioned 5 years of soccer, including being a captain and MVP her senior season, 4 years of varsity dance line, a state champion in 2007, state third place in 2008, state runner-up in 2009 and in 2010. A dance line captain in 2009 and 2010. A track captain in 2010. A conference champion in 400 meter in 2010. A state qualifier in the 400 and the 200 in 2010. A 6-year letter winner in track. A 4-time MVP in track. A 400 meter record holder in track. And the FHS Female Athlete of the Year in 2010. Her accomplishments at UW-La Crosse: 3 years on the hip-hop dance team. She didn't know about it as a freshman, apparently. A 5-time national champion in track. An 8-time All-American in track. A Wisconsin Intercollegiate Athletic Conference record holder in the 4x400 indoor and outdoor, the sprint medley and the individual 400, and the WIAC conference meet record holder in the 4x400. The 2014 indoor and outdoor individual 400 champion in 2014, a team captain in 2013 and 2014, and a 4-time UW-La Crosse Athlete of the Year for her class in each of her 4 years in school. Her coaching experience: an assistant sprint and relay coach at UW-La Crosse, a speed coach at Faribault High School, an assistant sprints and head horizontal jumps coach at Sauk Prairie High School. And her college degrees: a BS in psychology at UW-La Crosse, an MA in sports and exercise psychology at Minnesota State Mankato. Jenna is a certified mental performance consultant as well as a PCA, Positive Coaching Alliance trainer. And she is the owner of the Mental Clutch Sports Psychology Consulting Company, as well as a service facilitator at ThriveStrain. Did I say that right? Okay, good. In addition, she is a certified Zumba instructor. She believes that things in life happen for you and not to you. And that if we can make a shift in this perception and see the opportunities and learning lessons in the challenges we face, we can come out wiser, stronger, and better. Jenna's parents are Scott Halverson and Teresa Thompson, and her stepfather is Steve Thompson, who was also her track coach in high school. Her siblings are Jessica, Blake, Kayla, Parker, and Luke. She is married to Cody Fuchs, and they have 2 sons, Calvin, age 2, and Caden, 4 months old. Very well done, Jenna, and congratulations and welcome to the Faribault Sports Hall of Fame.
All right, just got to make sure I can see my father-in-law. He has a signal if I'm going too long. All right, so thank you for the speech in the beginning. Just growing up, I was the middle of 6 siblings, so you can kind of imagine that I took on that middle child role, which is that quiet, timid, reserved, shy child who kept to themselves, I didn't want to be in the spotlight or have any attention on me. Any attention in any way, shape, or form was absolutely terrifying. That wasn't until I realized I was pretty good at sports. Through sports, I found my voice and my power. I discovered that my actions could speak louder than any words. I didn't have to put myself out there in a way that I felt was scary. I just had to go out, and in track, I just had to run. And I just happened to run pretty well. Sports taught me an endless amount of life skills as well that I still use in my everyday life. Some examples. When I birthed my 2 beautiful boys, I turned to mantras, breathing techniques, and other relaxation strategies that I used while I ran and competed in the 400-meter dash. Before a public speaking engagement, such as this, I turned to imagery skills that I used before a race or a competition to help reduce my nerves and increase my confidence. When I take on too much that I know I probably can't get done, I'm able to ask for help with my husband, my family, my coworkers, and we can all together swarm on it because I know firsthand the power of teamwork. During hard times, I know I can push through what feels uncomfortable because I remind myself of those really challenging and painful repeat 500s. When I mess up at work and make a really embarrassing mistake, I'm reminded of the time I disqualified my 4x4 at nationals after being ranked 3rd, and I managed to come back with them and win 4 years in a row. When you think about the power that sports has, it's not surprising that a study found that 94% of women in C-suite positions were former athletes. Success in the business world demands a level of intensity and competitiveness that can be learned through sport when used the right way. And I do want to take a moment for us all to consider even what this group would look like if it wasn't for Title IX. This year marks the 50th anniversary that Title IX was passed. And this expanded opportunities for girls and women to compete in sports and absorb the life lessons that I before mentioned. In 1972, before Title IX passed, 300,000 women and girls competed in sports. And in 2012, 10 years ago, this number grew to over 3 million. It used to be 1 in 27 girls played sports before Title IX. And then in 2016, 1 in every 5 girls were playing sports. So what does this mean? If you provide it and build it, they will come. The more opportunities we open up, the more people who will show up wanting to grow and learn from these opportunities. So let's all do our part in continuing to expand these opportunities for these people. And now in closing, I do need to take a moment to thank the wonderful people in my life who without them, this nomination for myself wouldn't be possible. I need to start with my mom, Teresa, over there holding the little baby, Caden, who always modeled for us that we can take on more than we think. She always challenged me to get out of my comfort zone, whether it was pushing me to try to get the 800-meter school record, which my high school coach at the time shot down because it was right before state, to literally dragging me to what was supposed to be a speed camp, but ended up being a football camp with all boys. And I believe Gus was at that one. My father, who has always been my loudest cheerleader, no matter the sport, I could always hear his voice booming across any field, gym, or track. He would even paint his head in the colors to represent the school that I was competing for. And to my stepmom, Kathy, thank you for putting up with it. To my stepfather and coach, Steve Thompson, who saw something in me early on in 7th grade and moved me up to run with the big kids. Even though I was terrified at the time, I am forever grateful for making that scary transition for me as comfortable as possible. And to my 5 siblings, you taught me right away that there's no I in team. Because of them, I am competitive and brave. I mean, you had to be, because you didn't want to be the one that was getting made fun of for being the only sibling not going on the power tower. And to my grandparents, Tony, who couldn't be here today, and Mona, who traveled anywhere and everywhere with my parents to cheer me on. From Nebraska to California, and they even came and watched me run my marathon for several hours. And to my in-laws, who quickly joined the family fan club and also traveled near and far for all my events. And to my husband, Cody, even though he does remind me I have way too many slices of my pie, he does still support me in all my crazy endeavors. And of course, to my two boys, who challenge me to be the best person every single day. And thank you all for being here as well.
Anyone that grew up in this town and spent 2 seconds associated with any sports knows who our next guest is. KDHL Radio has been home to Gordy Kosfeld since June 1st of 1987. Over the past 35 years, he has become the highly recognized voice who promotes high school sports throughout the KDHL listening area, and is recognized by sports fans, coaches, and players as a prominent broadcaster at state basketball tournaments, state volleyball tournaments, and his coverage of St. Olaf and Carleton athletics. In addition to his work as the KDHL sports director, a position he has held since the retirement of the late Mike Morrissey in 2002, he has been the station's news director since 1987. Gordy and Mike worked the state high school basketball tournaments together from 1987 to 2002, and he has continued coverage of that Minnesota institution in all of the years since then. In addition, he was one of the first and still is one of the few knowledgeable volleyball announcers in the state of Minnesota. His broadcast of a high school volleyball match was heard by an administrator at the University of Minnesota as he was driving through this area at a time when the U had just lost their own announcer. He was so impressed with Gordy's work that he enlisted him to call the Gopher volleyball games for a significant period of time. Gordy also covers high school football, baseball, softball, on occasions wrestling, and anything else that he is able. Gordy is a native of Spring Grove, Minnesota, graduating in 1977 and giving the graduation speech for his senior class and being told it was very long. I'm just kidding, Gordy. His first sports microphone work came as the PA announcer for the home football games his senior year. After working in the grocery business and managing the first Quick Trip store in Spring Valley, Gordy headed to Brown Institute for a degree in broadcasting from August of '79 to May of 1980. His eventual broadcasting jobs took him to DeSoto, Missouri, Ottumwa, Iowa, North Platte, Nebraska, and eventually right here at KDHL in Faribault. While we know and honor him mostly for his broadcasting of thousands of local sporting events in Faribault and the surrounding area, Gordy is also a very humble and willing volunteer and promoter for very many local causes. He has been recognized and been presented with awards for years, including the following awards during his time in Faribault. The 1996 Faribault JC's Gold Key Award for Community Service. The Outstanding Newscast and Documentary Awards for the Minnesota News Network in 2009 and 2011. And I want to take a minute to acknowledge that as a guy that knows that. It's very rare for a guy in this size market to win that award. Congratulations, Gordy. A Minnesota Emergency Management Director's Outstanding Media Award in 2001. A President's Volunteer Service Award for commitment to strengthening our nation and making a difference through volunteer service by President Barack Obama in 2013. A Book of Golden Deeds Award from the Faribault Exchange Club in 2014. The Faribault Daily News Lifetime Achievement Award in 2017. The Faribault Rotary Club Paul Harris Fellow Award in 2022. He's been co-chair for the Rice County Relay for Life for 20 years. The top Faribault March of Dimes walker from 1988 to 1990. The president of Christ Lutheran Church Faribault Council from 2000 to 2006. And the Region 1 Athletic Directors Award in October of 2014. And the Angelo Giuliani Award from the Minnesota High School Baseball Coaches Association in 2013 for supporting the sport through his KDHL broadcasts. Gordy was born in Worthington, Minnesota in 1958 to August and Margaret Kosfeld, and his siblings are Linda Olson, Gary Kosfeld, and Laura Kosfeld. We are glad to recognize him tonight for being a friend, a promoter of local athletics. And as a kid that grew up listening to him on the radio, it was a privilege to be able to follow his suit to pursue a broadcasting career. Congratulations, Gordy, and welcome to the Faribault Sports Hall of Fame.
First of all, I want to thank the Hall of Fame Committee for the honor of joining all the distinguished people that have been chosen for the Faribault Sports Hall of Fame, many of them sitting here tonight. I honestly didn't think that I would be one of those people, and I truly feel blessed. A who's who of great athletes, coaches, and others who have made an impact not only in the sports community, but the Faribault community. 64 years ago, Margaret and August Kosfeld had a bouncy baby boy, me. I have been truly blessed. My mother and father were great supporters. I wish they could be here today. I know they're smiling from heaven right now, enjoying this moment even more than I am. I grew a love of sports thanks in large part to my older brother Gary. I'm sure he wasn't too thrilled having his little brother tag along on pickup games, right? He's 4 years older than me, and I'm tagging along going to these games. But he let me come along. Now, there were some times I got smacked pretty good by those older guys that would run home crying, but eventually that ended, right? And that's where my competitive spirit grew. We also had some hoops contests in below zero weather at the basket on the garage, wiffle ball games with a hit over the apple trees on the fence, a home run. I wanted to be closer to my only brother, so sports was our connection. He would cheer for Henry Aaron. I liked Willie Mays. He loved Bill Russell. I loved Wilt Chamberlain. I'm kind of giving away my age here. He was into Jack Nicklaus. I rooted for Arnold Palmer. We've attended Twins games, Vikings games, Gophers games, Timberwolves games together. We've got to get to a Wild game. Haven't done that yet. The Holy Bible mentions work many times. Colossians chapter 3, verse 23 says, "Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as working for the Lord, not for human masters." Ephesians chapter 4, verse 28 says, "Anyone who has been stealing must steal no longer, but must work, doing something useful with their own hands, that they may have something to share with those in need." Three quotes from Martin Luther King Jr. have stuck with me most of my life also, and that's why I wanted to share them with you. I try to live by these. He said, one, life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? How about if it falls your lot to be a street sweeper, sweep streets like Michelangelo painted pictures, like Shakespeare wrote poetry, like Beethoven composed music, sweep streets so well that all the host of heaven and earth will have to pause and say, here lived a great street sweeper who swept his job well. And Dr. King also said, everybody can be great because anybody can serve. You don't have to have a college degree to serve. You don't have to make your subject and verb agree to serve. You only need a heart full of grace and a soul generated by love. My hero was no sports figure. My hero was my dad because he was the best Christian man I ever knew. He never, ever, and I can't say this, took the Lord's name in vain. I've done it way too much. He did not just talk the talk, he walked the walk. I get asked all the time, I was asked at the table tonight by some of my co-inductees into the Hall of Fame, by the way, Holly Hackmeyer was the most incredible blocker I think I've ever seen in volleyball. I'm serious about that. Man, could she block the ball. And Carrie Ann Nass, stand up once, will you, Carrie? I want people to see how tall you are. This young lady, who was a setter initially, became a hitter because the team needed her to hit. That little gal could pack a wallop. I used to say all the time, I'm glad that's not my head she's hitting over there. She can really hit the ball. But I get asked all the time what my favorite sport to call is, and I reply all the time, and I truly mean this, the one I am calling. And I'm not saying I'm good at all of them, but I have fun doing all of them. I try to treat them all with the same passion. To attack every contest with energy, like Dr. King's street sweeper and the Bible verse about working with all of your heart. I am humbled to join some great KDHL legends in this Hall of Fame. One of them, Tom Hartman, back there. Tom, please stand again. Let's give him a standing ovation, ladies and gentlemen. Tom Hartman. This banquet would not be here today without Tom. Thanks to Tom. And of course, I learned a lot from the late, great Mike Morrissey, who's in multiple halls of fame, multiple state halls of fame. We had, I could tell stories all night about our trips, but I won't, I promise. We had some good times on the road. I'll tell one story. It's winter. I'm falling asleep, because I'm the news director. I got to be up at the station early in the morning, so I'm tired. And I'm sleeping on the way back. All of a sudden, I wake up and we're in the middle of a ditch. I'm literally in the middle of a ditch. And Mike's driving along, middle of the ditch. I wake up and I said, Mike, where are we? Well, can't you see Cotsfeld? We're in the middle of the ditch. I said, Mike, don't you think we want to get back up on the road? He keeps driving down the middle of the ditch. Eventually, we did get home. But there are other stories I could tell about our escapades. He was a great guy. My passion for theater, I believe, was instrumental in forming the play-by-play guy that I would become. My high school theater teacher was Shirley Gangstad, who gave me a lot of encouragement in those important middle and high school years. My sports broadcasting instructor at Brown Institute was Mike Cronforst. Cronny was a great guy, and I absorbed everything he said like a sponge. I arrived, as was noted in my bio, I guess, at KDHL in 1987, so I won't go into all the places I went because it's in the bio. But I called a lot of games with Mike Morrissey as his color man for a few years, and I think that also kind of helps you develop your play-by-play as well, because, you can do both if you have to. After Mike retired in 2002 and I became the sports director, I started calling Carleton games, and they're a lot of fun to call. They are having a great year this year, undefeated. We go up to Concordia Moorhead tomorrow. We get to call that on Power 96, 95.9 on your FM dial. And I'd be remiss if I didn't thank all the sponsors, the businesses that sponsor these broadcasts. They would not be on the air without them, folks. And believe me, the sponsorships are dwindling these days. So if you can help in any way, shape, or form, if you own a business, we can help you out there. Sports casts, lots of people love listening to sports, as evidenced by the people that are here tonight. I've called a lot of state high school championship games over the years, and as they mentioned, the state boys basketball tournament, baseline to baseline coverage ever since the station went on the air in 1948, except for the 2020, 2021 years because of that COVID thing. Some memorable games. I had the honor of sitting courtside when Blake Hoffarber hit the miracle shot from his derriere for Hopkins. That was so much fun. And I'll never forget the look on those young men's face. They come out after the overtime off the bench. They're all laughing, giggling, smiling. That's what sports should be. It should be about passion and love of the game, right? They all wanted to win, of course. That's what you want to do. But it was so cool to see everybody on the bench and on the floor and in the crowd smiling from ear to ear because this guy hit the shot from his derriere and he ended up going on Good Morning America and everything else. I think he got an ESPY award, I think. Blake Hoffarber. Just one of the great memories I've had the honor to be alongside. And of course they talked about the University of Minnesota phoning, and that was a lot of fun. Got to call a final NCAA Final Four in Long Beach, California, when they took on Stanford, and boy, was Stanford good. But that was fun. I got to do a region final in Gainesville, Florida. Do you know back then anyway, there were no direct flights to Gainesville, Florida? I had to fly into North Carolina, take a puddle jumper into Gainesville. I was shocked. Well, they told me they actually have an alligator on their campus. Some football games, volleyball games, soccer games, hockey, basketball, softball, baseball, wrestling. Thanks to legendary Lakeville volleyball coach Mylan Mader, and of course BA coaches Franz Bolter and Ken Trinka for helping me learn more about the strategies of that sport. So many other coaches, Bert Bardall, Rich Oliphant, Duke Snyder, Len Olson, Dave Henry, Randy Hawkinson, Don Henderson, Lori Gunnis, Rich Decker, Jerry Weemy, Tony Poncelet, Matt Helverson, Melissa Youssef, Crystal Lamont, Ned Lewis. I can go on and on and on, all the coaches that I've had the pleasure of getting to know over the years. I truly feel very blessed to be entering the Faribault Sports Hall of Fame with these great individuals. Beau Petra, at the end of the table here, should be in the Hair Hall of Fame. You can see why I'm a little bit jealous. Beau's got his hair up in a bun, but when it's not, he belongs in the Hair Hall of Fame. No question about it. And Mr. Gustafson could run like the wind. Part of that was being small, right? Big guys are chasing you, you got adrenaline, you run fast. But in track, there are no big guys chasing him. He still ran fast. It was an honor to call all of your games, Beau. Not all of them, but I mean some of them. Beau, Carrie Ann, Holly, and Mr. Gustafson, thank you so very much for letting me part of your lives. I wish I would have been around. I was around in 1967, but you wouldn't have wanted me to call your games at 67. That's it, folks. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thanks for coming and supporting sports.
Carrie Ann Nass Wayland is a 2010 graduate of Bethlehem Academy who excelled in both volleyball and basketball. Her talents and accomplishments clearly reflected her versatility, athleticism, tenacity, selflessness, and her tremendous team-first attitude in both sports. While her most memorable athletic moments came in volleyball, her contributions in basketball were also significant. She was a team captain, a 4-year letter winner, was named All-Conference once, and Honorable Mention All-Conference once as well. As Gordy mentioned, in spite of only being 5'5" and slight of build, she was a tenacious defender and rebounder who was willing to fill any role for which she was called upon. As a volleyball player, she truly shined in many ways. She and fellow inductee Holly Halfmeyer-Heemstra were crucial 4-year components on Cardinal volleyball teams that reached the state championship match every year, winning 2 state titles and 2 state runner-up finishes. For the first 2 of those seasons, Carrie Ann was an outstanding setter, and she was certainly headed toward making All-State at that position had she continued there her junior year. However, the Cardinals were in significant need of an outside hitter who could also be a key passer and serve receiver, and they did have other setter options. When confronted by Coach Beller concerning her feelings about the position switch, being the unselfish player that she was, she not only didn't flinch a bit, but also had a great year on her way to making All-State at that position for her last 2 seasons. A glimpse of her energy and intensity was reflected by a statement from Jenna Bood, who was her replacement at setter on her way to becoming an All-State setter herself. Jenna remarked that Carrie Ann was her favorite person to set because even if she gave her a terrible set, Carrie Ann would find a way to put a very aggressive and successful attack on the ball. Coach Bolter thought of her as a small fighter jet who had an unbelievably aggressive approach on the ball and attacked it at a very high zenith in spite of her lack of size. I don't know why everybody keeps with the short stuff. That's kind of mean on your big night. Notable individual volleyball achievements note her versatility and consider that all her numbers would be significantly inflated had she played the same position for all 4 of her seasons. 974 assists, that's 8th all-time at BA. 835 kills, that's 12th all-time. 1,208 digs, 8th all-time. 165 ace serves, 9th all-time. The 9th best all-time serve-receive percentage. Team MVP 3 times, one of those as shared MVP with Holly. Team Hustle Award, voted on by teammates twice. All-conference 3 times, all-state twice, and honorable mention once. All-state tournament team 3 times. Upon graduation, Carrie Ann went on to play at the University of St. Thomas, where she obtained a degree in marketing. In both of her 2 years on the team there, St. Thomas reached the Division III National Elite 8. Carrie Ann is married to Grant Wayland, and they have 2 children, Isabella, age 9, and Penelope, age 3, and a son on the way, due in November. She is the daughter of Pete and Kathy Nass, and her siblings are Tom, Victoria, and Olivia. Well done, Carrie Ann, and welcome to the Faribault Sports Hall of Fame.
All right, well, thank you for having me tonight and for recognizing me. It's really fun to see some familiar faces that we haven't seen for a while. I just want to start out by thanking my parents. You guys supported me through all of our sports, and it was a lot of sacrificing to be made to drive us to our sporting events, to dedicate that much time. I am learning now, as I have kids, that sports are a lot of sacrifice for parents. So thank you for doing that. Specifically to my mom, thank you so much for all your support. You were there to provide meals for not only me and our family, but also for my teammates. You hosted a lot of pasta nights and team parties, and most importantly, you tried really hard to keep our jerseys, knee pads, shoes smelling the best that they could. It was hard work. You did the best you could. I also wanted to thank a group of coaches that can be really credited for not only my volleyball and basketball skills, but also for life skills and for supporting me and encouraging me. So thank you, Franz Bolter, Ken Trinka, Abby Smargia, and Sue Jandro. You not only taught me lessons on the volleyball court, but I was able to take those lessons and apply them to my life. And so I just wanted to share 2 lessons with you tonight that you impacted my life. The first being was to never give up. This was something that was really ingrained in our minds, that if you never give up, you're going to be able to achieve more than what you think is possible. No matter what the score was, or how impossible the ball was to dig or run through, you made sure that we never gave up and we continued to try. You instilled this mentality in us that we could achieve anything and to never let doubt seep in. This mentality and determination has really stuck with me as I moved along in life and outside of sports, and when I had to overcome any obstacles or achieve difficult goals. This is something that I really hung up on to. The other lesson that you really pushed into us was to always enjoy the journey. And so volleyball was a very short season, and we always tried not to look at what was at the end and to take each day take one day at a time and enjoy the days that we had together. This has really stuck with me, especially, as I raise these 2 cute little girls over here, that life goes by so fast, and to enjoy each day that we have together, because every day they grow up faster and faster. So thank you for those gifts that you have given me. Lastly, I just want to share a really quick story regarding what kind of the biggest aspect volleyball has had on my life. So growing up, my parents, they were very busy. They both had careers, and I also have 3 other siblings. The first volleyball tournament I can remember my dad attending was at the end of 7th grade. It was a 2-day tournament in St. Cloud, and I remember my team had just won our semifinal game. So we were just sitting on the bench having a quick snack before we would start our championship game. And all of a sudden I felt someone come up behind me, and they were kind of massaging my shoulders and encouraging my teammates and essentially giving them a scouting report on the team that we would face in the final. And I look up and just start laughing to myself because it's my dad behind me. this is the first tournament that he has been to. All of a sudden, he's an expert on volleyball and is very engaged and excited. And when I was sharing this memory with my mom a couple weeks ago, she looked at me and she's like, I know exactly what you're talking about. Your coach at the time turned to me and said, well, I think we got Pete hooked. And that was true. From that moment on, my dad was at every single volleyball function that we had for not only me, but my sisters as well. Volleyball just became something that all of my family could enjoy together. We all loved it. We could play together. We could talk about it. It really was a platform that we grew our relationship on. And so I just think that I'm so thankful for that common love of volleyball and so grateful for what volleyball gave me, because I think that's one of the most important things in my life that it's given me. So with that, I'm going to end before other things start happening up here. All right. Thank you again for having me tonight, and thank you to everyone else who's inducted as well. It's so great to hear from you.
Before I announce our final inductee, I also wanted to take a minute to, once again, thank you for having me here this evening. It's an honor as a kid that grew up playing sports in town. And thank you to all the former coaches and teachers that are here tonight, a lot of which you all have yelled at me at one point. Sorry, Miss Olson. Reavers, you're talking again. Yeah, I know, I'm sorry. Sorry, Miss Olson. Born into the great bloodlines of the Petra and Duzbabic families, this kid won the genetic jackpot, ladies and gentlemen. Bo Petra is a 2010 graduate of Faribault High School. And a quick aside, I've known Bo since he was a kid when he was tagging along with his dad. His dad's softball teams would usually edge us by about 25 every summer. Super fun. Just kidding. Not about losing, but yeah. Relying not only on his heritage, he developed tremendous work habits, love, and enthusiasm for both football and hockey during his years at FHS, as well as his 4 years at St. Cloud State University, where he focused on and excelled on the gridiron. At FHS, he lettered for 3 years in hockey and 2 years in football. His teammates recognized his value in leadership by electing him captain in both sports for the Falcons his senior year. He led each squad with both his encouragement for them and his aggressive, skilled, and physical play in each sport. If you were to talk to his teammates, for the many fans who had the opportunity to watch him, they have great recollection of the many ways that he made his teams better. And he always shared the accolades that came his way with his teammates, as well as crediting them and his coaches for the successes that they all enjoyed together. Under the efforts of him and his teammates, the Falcons captured the Big Nine Championship in hockey in 2009. FHS individual accomplishments and recognition: All-State football team, All Big Nine in football, All Big Nine in hockey, the Big Nine Defensive Player of the Year in football, Minnesota Mr. Football nominee, the Outstanding Male Athlete of the Year at FHS. In his 4 years at St. Cloud State University, Bo majored in communications leadership and organizational studies, which was clearly understandable given his personal strengths. He was also a standout on the Huskies football team, helping to lead them to the 2013 Northern Sun Intercollegiate Conference Championship, as well as a national semifinal appearance where they were knocked off, by Northwest Missouri State. His MO was a bruising, hard-hitting defender who inspired the rest of the Husky squad, which explains why they named him captain for the 2014 season. His individual accomplishments and recognition at SCSU: a 4-year letter winner, All NSIC First Team in 2013, elected captain for 2014, All NSIC First Team in 2014, and the NSIC Defensive Player of the Year in 2014. Bo offers this when asked what his philosophy for success might be. Today I do what others won't do so that tomorrow I can do what others can't. He encourages all of us to go at everything with a purpose and to never stop experiencing new things. He likely imparts that advice to current football players, as he has served as a volunteer assistant for FHS football for the past 2 seasons. Bo's parents are Tim and Julie Petra, and his grandfather is Ed Duzbabic. Now a fellow Faribault Sports Hall of Famer, his wife is Allison, and his siblings are Ben Petra and Piper Petra Shadeen. Congratulations on a great career, Bo, and welcome to the Faribault Sports Hall of Fame.
Good evening, everyone. First, I want to start off by thanking the committee. Thank you so much for the nomination. Staying here, have the opportunity to represent the community that shaped me into who I am today. Greatly appreciate that. To my family, the ones I miss dearly and the ones here in spirit, Grandpa and Grandma Petra, Grandma Duzbabic, think of you every day. Couldn't be here without you and your support, helped me get here. To my parents, Tim, to my mom, Julie, my dad also a member of the Sports Hall of Fame. Thank you for the amount of sacrifice you made and the amount of time you put in for Piper, Ben, and myself to attend all the different activities we felt the desire to play. We appreciate it more than we can express into words. From coaching youth hockey to hosting team brunches to never missing a college football game, I always knew I could count on both of you. Being involved is what you push the most. You allowed me to experience and discover what I loved. From the BMX bike track, which I am not a biker, in 90-degree heat, to Cub football practice on Maple Lawn, to the ice rink in Plymouth at 9 p.m. on a school night. If we were signed up, we never missed. Told to put forth maximum effort in anything we do. You instilled the belief that nothing was impossible if you put in the work. I'm so grateful for the two of you. Without your guidance, love, and support, I would not be sitting here today. To my grandpa, Duzbabic, who's also in the Sports Hall of Fame, thank you for your overwhelming love, support throughout my career. You and Grandma were always there to cheer me on. Some might say too much at times. Grandpa Duzbabic liked to volunteer his time from the sidelines with what he considered critical coaching tips. Few examples were run the damn ball. What was that play call? What is number 62 doing on the field? Typical grandparent stuff, right? My grandpa, you might be on your own on that one. Growing up, I would meet my grandpa for breakfast before Cub football games. We'd eat, talk football, and visit with some of his friends who also regularly the place. These are memories I'll never forget. To my sister, Piper, and my brother, Ben, thank you for constantly picking on me throughout my life. All jokes aside, thank you for everything. You provided me the competitive sibling rivalries and were my best teammates. You showed me the landscape of what could be accomplished if you worked hard. From shooting pucks in the driveway with the Helgeson brothers to tubing on Cannon Lake in the summers, attending hockey camps far, far away from home, we did it all together. Barbecue tailgates with the entire family in St. Cloud before football games, obnoxious fat head cutouts during my games that Piper loved to just throw up there. Halloween parties and countless nights at the red carpet. Thank you so much. I love you both. To all my coaches, thank you for providing me an environment that I wanted to be in every single day. Thank you for your guidance, your patience, your time, your commitment, your energy. All that matters so much. From youth sports to college. A coach is someone who teaches, trains, and advises someone to improve upon one's skills to make him or her reflect on achievements and how to improve on lessons learned. Throughout my career, I felt lucky enough to have that. All right, I can't let this story go. I got one story for you. 2009 was already brought up here with Anthony. He had the record for most rushing yards in a game. It was October night in Owatonna against our arch rivalries, known as the 2009 Mud Bowl. I was not a running back, and I begged Ned for the ball. I just begged him. I said, I can carry the ball, I can carry the ball. Anyways, we win the toss, we get the ball, we go down the field, we get to about the 10-yard line. I'm getting shuffled in from tight end to wing back to half back to full back. It doesn't matter. Ned's throwing me everywhere. I'm putting it as halfback for a 35 lead. I take the ball, run right into the back of an O-lineman. Linebacker comes off the edge from Owatonna. This is the first series of the game. Takes the ball right out of my hands, runs 90 yards down the field for a touchdown. This is like the 5th game of the season. I'm chasing this guy as fast as I can, and I see Ned out of the corner of my eye running like 6 strides ahead of me and saying, "You better get that damn ball back." Long story short, I don't think I got the ball the rest of the game. Anthony took care of that with some good lead blocking and, like I mentioned, the school record. So we won the game. That's all that mattered. And in closing, to all those I played with, thank you for teaching me the most important thing of athletics: how to be a good teammate. These are memories that will stick with me forever. Thank you.
Well, how about one more round of applause for all of their inductees here this evening. We've heard some great stories. What a sense of community I really feel. I'm so grateful we're able to be back together here celebrating. It's just awesome. So looking forward to next year, Eddie. We do have nominations forms on the back table. We're also working at a better way to distribute those. I do have them at my office. We'll get some at the Faribault Chamber of Commerce. We'll post them on our social media as well. So if you have a nomination for next year or future years, please fill that out and get it back to a community member. Again, appreciate everyone being here. Safe travels home, and we'll see you next year.